Hi, my name is Stacey Evans, and I'm the nursing supervisor for the West and the South for residential. I'm going to go over Carasolva with you today. This video is going to go over how to add a medication, delete a medication, and verify that it's on the MAR, and any other pertinent information for that. When you log into Carasolva, you're going to first be brought to the landing page, which you can see here. You're going to go to the left, it says client search prompts. You're going to want to go and select your client. We're going to go to Emmett Lego. He's one of our training site. So we can go over some of his information and update things here. So when you're on this page here, this is the prompt page. This is the page that the staff is going to see when the staff logs in to give medication. You can see here that there's some stuff in red, which we'll go over in a different video. So the purpose of this video, we're going to go to medication, which will bring you to the back office for that client. So you'll see here at the top, it'll say medication event management. It's going to have the client's name. It'll show you their allergies if they have any listed. The medication list that's currently showing in Carasolva is going to show here. So as you can see, this client has a Abilify 30 milligrams and a Abilify 10 milligrams already added in here. So we're going to go in and just play around with that. We're going to select add. Then you'll go down. You'll want to go in here and select the medication that the client is on. So say we're going to go ahead and decrease his medication. We'll just say he's now going to only take Abilify 5 milligrams. So you'll want to select the dosage. So this client's just going to take 1 tablet. So you'll want to do the route is oral. If you have the RX number, you can add that in there. If not, it's fine. You will want to put a diagnosis or a purpose if possible, so the staff know why this client is taking this medication. So we're just going to put it's for mood. Prescription, the information you enter here needs to match the actual physician order and the label on the prescription. So we're just going to say they're going to take 1 tablet by mouth daily. If you have additional information, you can add that here, but you don't have to worry about that. Something to point out, anything you see a red asterisk next to has to have a value in it. So you can see that the RX has a red asterisk. We didn't enter a number in here, but it does have a period. If you can see that, go ahead and take that away. And you see that it has to have some kind of information there. So you just have to add that back in there and then you're good. I would suggest to put the prescribing doctor's information so that the staff can see, or anyone going in can see, which doctor is prescribing this medication. Physician number would be more of like an MPI DEA number. Sometimes the pharmacy puts that information in there, but that's not something that we necessarily have to have added. Refills remaining. We're still working with this to see how this actually reports. So you can add if there's 1 or 2 remaining if you'd like. Over here, you'll see that the only thing that's selected is enable, change alert, and active, but this is a psychotropic medication, so you'll want to go ahead and select that. If it was a controlled substance, you would select that, and it would then enable for you to add the count for that medication. We'll do that in a separate video. So if you just scroll down, this is where you're going to actually schedule this medication. So if you want this medication to start today, you would have the start date as of today. If you didn't want it to start for a whole week, then you would click the little calendar button, and then you would select the date that this medication should show up in Carasolva for staff to administer. You can see here the end date. There is a future date for this, and this is so that it doesn't close out anywhere anywhere right now. It's 50 years out. If this client was only going to take this medication for a week, you would hit the little calendar. You would go in and then you would have to select the month, the day, and the year. Since it says 2073, if you just click that and then just go back, you can actually select that and it will take you back 10 years. So then you can select whatever year date that you want it. So let's just say we're going to have this client only take this medication for the month of February. So we will select back out, go back. 2023, it's going to go to February. Let's just say actually he's going to take it for a week. So we'll just say it's going to discontinue next week. If that was the case, you put it in there. Otherwise, you don't mess with that at all. So the frequency is going to be reoccurring because he's going to get this more than 1 time every day while we're in the system. If it was just a one-time thing, you can add that there. And then administration time. You would just put what time this client's taking this medication. If they take it more than 1 time a day, then you would select the next administration time, and each one would then add a different prompt that would come up in the system. Right here, you can see where it says prompt buttons. This part is for the staff when they go to give the medication. This is what's going to give them options to do with that medication. So if it's successful, that just means what it says. They were able to successfully give that medication. Out of facility would mean that that client itself is not in the home at the time. So let's just say they were taken to the emergency room due to being sick, or they were out with family and they were not put on leave and the medication still pulled up. They can select out of facility, and then it would give them a box for them to enter in a note, which would be client with family, medication sent with family, or whatever the case may be. If it was refused, they would select refused. Again, they would just want to follow their policy with refusals. One refusal does not mean that the client no longer gets that medication. They'll want to go ahead and utilize that hour before and hour after if possible. If it was refused, they would then select refuse, and it would again pop up a box, and they would want to type in client Joe refused medication 15 times, asked, stated didn't want to take the medication, or whatever the situation was. They would put that in there so that it's documented as to why that client did not get that medication. If it's put on hold for any reason, say the doctor's office calls and says they need labs tomorrow, hold that medication in the morning, and they would be able to go ahead and do that. Other just means that what else happened? Something happened. So say medication was due at 8 o'clock, they gave it at 8:30, but then a behavior happened, which kept them from being able to mark that medication off on time. They would go and select other. Then they would put that the medication was administered on time, but it was documented late due to whatever the situation was. And then medication unavailable, that just means that the medication is not in the home. So say they have a Abilify ordered and they've been giving it for the last 30 days and then the refill didn't come in. They're going to go ahead and select that button. That's then going to notify higher ups to kind of trickle down to whoever it needs to go to say, hey, why is this medication not in the home? Sometimes the staff just don't know how to look properly for that medication, but this again is going to alert that to the proper people, and then they'll be able to go and investigate or figure out or get that medication in the home. If you have a client that goes a day program, say they have a medication they get at noon, Monday through Friday at day program, but on the weekends they get it with staff. Instead of having to go in and readjust the Carasolva schedule, they can just select day program as an option. And when they do that, then that's going to give the staff the option to select day program. They can select day program and just put that the medication is administered at day program. The other part that you'll want to make sure you set up is the administration window. So this just means that the client can get this medication 1 hour before and 1 hour after the administration time. Administration time is 8 a.m. So at 7 a.m. it's going to show green in Carasolva, telling staff that they are able to give that medication, and it will stay green until 8:59 a.m. At 9 a.m. it will then become red and it will be overdue. So you'll want to also select your alerts to be for 1 hour. So what's going to happen here is it hits 9 a.m. Staff still haven't signed this medication off. This alert is going to go to whoever it's tagged to say, hey, nobody has done anything with this medication. That kind of prompts the program manager to be able to contact staff and say, hey, show that you haven't given the 8 a.m. medication. Can you tell me what's going on? And maybe they forgot to sign it off. They're able to go and sign it off right away. This also helps with closing out open holes in the documentation, and so that the MARs are always complete at all times. Usually we just do for the 1 hour, just because again, they have that hour after administration time to be able to give that medication. So let's go ahead and give them that hour. After that, we need to find out why that medication hasn't been given. Once you've filled out all this information, you just hit save. Takes a second, and then you can see here it's highlighted in orange that the Abilify 5 milligram tablet was added. They're going to take 1 tablet by mouth daily. With the start date of today, we went ahead and put an end date in there. If there was no end date, it would just show as it does here. It is an active order. It was updated by me, and it was updated today. So if you want to go in and you want to verify that that was added to the MAR, if you select the view prompt page, it'll bring you back to the prompt page for that client. You would then select current med sheet. And then on the current med sheet, this is their MAR. This is going to show you here that Abilify 5 milligrams was added, and it's only added for 1 week. So you can see that today is the first, and since it's after 8 a.m., that is going to show an X because they're not going to be able to document on that because it wasn't in the system for 8 a.m. It's actually not going to start in the system until tomorrow. So these are the only days that's actually going to come up as a prompt for the staff. Anything that you see with the red X just means that that medication does not show up for staff to sign off because it was not ordered to be given on that date. As you can see here as well, you see the other two Abilifys. There's actually quite a few Abilifys here for this client here. So what we're going to do is go back in and get rid of those. So now that you verified that the medication you added is on the MAR, you go back to client prompts. As a key point in Carasolva, you cannot use the back button. If you do, it will kick you out and you'll have to log back in. So you want to do client prompts, go to medication to bring you back to the back office. And then once you're into the back office, then you're going to go ahead and just select the medication that you want to get rid of. So we're going to get rid of Abilify 30 milligrams. So when you hit select, it's going to highlight which medication you're going to work with. So as you can see, whatever it is going to be highlighted in orange. So we've selected Abilify 30 milligrams. They're no longer taking that because we just added the 5 milligrams in there. So you're going to DC the event. It's going to prompt to ask, are you sure you want to discontinue? You're going to hit OK. And it takes a second for it to load. But as you can see, the Abilify 30 milligrams is no longer listed. We're going to go ahead and also get rid of the 10 milligrams. DC event again. Yes, we're sure we want to discontinue. Just taking a moment. And then as you can see, there's nothing showing here now. So if you go back to the view the prompt page, go back to the current med sheet, you're going to see that this has been discontinued. All right. So if you go back to the client prompts, go to medication. You want to verify, say that maybe you messed up and you weren't supposed to get rid of the 30 milligrams. They're going to take 35 milligrams. So you discontinued it on accident and you forgot. So if you just hit list all, this will show you everything that has ever been in Carasolva for this client. So as you can see, anything that's been discontinued that will not show as an active order is showing in gray. So if you looked over at the status, it shows it was deleted or reactivated or active or whatever the situation is. So let's just say we're going to go ahead and reactivate the Abilify 30 milligrams. So you're going to go ahead and hit select. It highlights in orange. You're going to reactivate that medication. You're going to hit save. And then you can go down here and we're going to show active only. So this is going to show you, if you scroll back up, the Abilify 30 milligrams is now put back into this order. Now, you don't want to go in and do this if, say, Abilify 30 milligrams was something he took last year, and then they're going to put back on it again. You would just want to go in and add a new medication the same way we just did the 5 milligrams. This would be only used if, for whatever reason, you accidentally discontinued that in the system. You didn't mean to, you selected the wrong medication, something happened, you were distracted, you weren't paying attention. So just make sure you're very careful with that because you want this to be as up to date as possible, as this is what the staff use to give medications to our clients. So if you were to go in here and see that it shows here as well, let's go view the med sheet one more time, hit view prompt page, back to current med sheet. And as you can see here, the Abilify 30 milligrams is showing back in the system. So we reactivated this, but because of that, today was not, since it's after 8 a.m., today is not going to show in here for this. But you can see that every other date is open for this medication. Up here, you can see the Abilify 10 milligrams. You can see that it was discontinued as well. But there's still an open hole. Well, that's because the medication was discontinued after 8 a.m. and that staff still need to go in and say what happened with that medication. So they'll want to go in and either sign that they gave that medication, that it was discontinued, or whatever the case may be. So they'll want to make sure to go back and do that. So if you go back to client prompts again, it'll just bring you back to your prompt page, and that is how you add and or delete a medication.